Good afternoon and welcome to AM News Network presents Summary Judgment. I'm Rachel Baird. Ed Peruta is next to me, to my left. This is our weekly Saturday show where we talk about current events, politics, local courts, and anything else that Ed seems to find during the week. How are you doing, Ed?
Good.
What do you want to talk about first?
Well, we went into the Rocky Hill Town Hall, and we were going to do this, and we're going to do it at other town halls.
Mm-hmm.
And we asked the clerk, when someone gets a parking ticket, do they have the right to appeal? Yes. And in some towns, there's very few appeals because there's very few tickets. But in a place like Hartford, I'm willing to bet you there's lots of appeals. Now, so we went in and we asked.
You've done some appeals yourself in Hartford.
Right. We have gone. I went in and I said, can I see some of these appeals? So we went through them and I picked out a couple that just intrigued me. So this is an appeal submitted because somebody got a ticket. Okay?
Right. A parking ticket.
A parking ticket. And I believe it may have been in a handicap.
Is this the one in the corporate park?
No, this is Mapleview Manor. This is at a nursing home.
That was Fire Lane, I think.
I am writing this letter on behalf of my parents, who received a ticket at Mapleview Health and Rehab. My parents go to visit and care for my grandmother daily at Mapleview. The problem is, there are so few spaces for elderly to park. My mom has survived colorectal cancer, and my dad...
Don't give the name.
No, who has a handicap parking ticket, has an aneurysm, and is unable to walk far. That leaves the fire lane. There really needs to be some more handicap parking at the facility to ensure that the elderly and handicapped and the elderly and anyone who needs assistance has an adequate place to park. I agree. Please see attached for the supporting documents, and please, I urge you to consider adding more spaces, as in a facility that large, 3 spots are just not enough. Okay.
So is she asking, I don't know if it's he or she, but is she asking the town to ensure that the nursing home has more spaces, or maybe for them to go inspect to see if they're compliant with the law? Or is she asking the nursing home to provide more spaces? Is the town supposed to communicate?
She's appealing the fire lane ticket to the town.
Yes.
And in her appeal, she's asking the town to mandate more parking, more handicap parking, and more handicap.
Oh, to pass an ordinance.
What I'm saying is, when the building was built as a nursing home, because it was my grandmother died there in the 70s, but it was an older brownstone, and they built a new facility. Maybe the town should have said, hey, you know, this is a handicap, like the VA. This is a lot of handicapped people. We need 100 handicap spaces. They didn't, but you don't park in a goddamn fire lane.
Right, that's not it. That's not a good excuse. So
now,
what was the ruling on that?
In favor of the town.
Okay.
Parked in a fire lane.
Mm-hmm.
And she admitted it. Okay. All right. This one, I got to see what the
Is this the one in the big parking lot at the office building?
I don't know.
Okay.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
But she got a ticket, and it doesn't say what violations, it doesn't say. Okay?
Okay.
My baby was crying
I
real
remember
bad.
this one. I remember this one.
So I parked to the nearest spot I found after one dropped off my sister on the something shop.
Stop and
Stop
Shop.
and Shop.
Mm-hmm.
When I was ready to move, it was a handicap.
Right.
When I was ready to move, police officer was at my window asking for my license. I told him I'm ready to move, that I know I'm not supposed to park here, but he said that I can move after I get my ticket. Now, I'm sitting in the car.
Wait a second. Go ahead.
At the end, I can move after you. What?
This is the part that gets me. My baby was crying really bad, so I parked in the nearest spot to the store. What does one have to do with the other? That was my main question. My baby was crying, so I had to park near the store.
Now, my question is, you've taken up a handicap parking spot. You're parked in it. You're sitting in it, but you're taking up the spot. Somebody else isn't going to get to use it. And when the police officer comes up, oh, I was just leaving. No, you were going to sit there until somebody came up to you to give you a ticket.
Well, maybe until the baby stopped crying.
Or until the baby stopped crying.
But
But
I could see if the baby was in Stop and Shop crying and you wanted to be closer so the baby would get relief from the car as soon as possible coming out of the Stop and Shop.
You know.
But this baby's in the car. What difference does it make to the baby whether it's crying in a handicapped parking spot or a regular one? Okay, there you go.
Guilty. Guilty. Now, I'm not going to say the name.
No, don't say the name.
My name is Ralph. I am the owner-manager of a large building in Corporate Place in Rocky Hill. Today, I received a parking violation for parking in a handicapped parking spot. The reason I parked there was because my lot was completely full of cars.
Yeah.
The reason my lot was full of cars was that I was being a good neighbor to the Chief State's Attorney's building at 300 because their lot is undergoing complete repaving project. That will take up to 6 weeks. I have attached an email from the building manager from Building 300. As a significant taxpayer of the town, and I feel doing the right thing for the employees of the Chief State's Attorney's Office, sacrificing my parking spaces for them, I do not feel it's right to penalize me.
So it's the prosecutor's fault that he broke the law. I like that defense. So the weakness I saw in his case when we looked at this at Rocky Hill Town Hall was, it's a big parking lot over there. I said we should go take a picture of it. It is a big, big parking lot, so it's hard for me to believe that every space was full in that parking lot.
But they didn't start the construction. They delayed it. They didn't start it. It wasn't ongoing.
I don't know. There's a little bit of issue of fact there. I think maybe it was
Okay.
already.
Listen.
But he should have sent a picture. He should have sent a picture of the full parking lot. There's no reason why he couldn't have. And so that's what makes me suspicious of the whole excuse. What was the
He
ruling?
says it's the state's attorney's fault.
Right,
Trump did it.
right.
Okay. Trump did it. Okay, now.
Joe Cool's on the line.
Huh?
Joe Cool is on the line.
Joe Cool! Joe Cool!
Yeah.
Oh,
no,
there
buddy,
he is.
what are you doing?
He's got music.
What?
What's going on, guys?
Hey, what are you doing?
I'm about to go to Avon, Indiana, man, give some police a hard time.
What's going on in Avon, Indiana?
Well, they trespassed the guy from the entire town for filming the police. They said it was interfering, and when next time they called him, they surrounded him and gave him a piece of paper saying you can't go to any public place in the town. So, yeah, me and some buddies going to give him hell today.
That's good. So let me tell you, I haven't.
So,
Go ahead.
yeah, I was going to say I'm also going to California, I don't know, in a couple 3 days or something, and visit a bunch of the, auditors out there I've never seen, SJB, SGB, ICE Code audits, all of them. I got shit lined up. I'd love to see JC as well. I think he's out there.
He's in Florida.
Well, I got to get there too.
He's down in Jacksonville. He had some
All right,
family
all right.
issues. He's still got a place in California, but he's in Florida.
So you're,
All right. I got you. Thank you for that.
Joe Cool, gotta ask
How
you a
guys
question.
doing, man?
Gotta ask
Get
you.
the hell out of y'all. Yeah.
Well, I've been sick. I've had issues.
Okay.
But we're trying to get onto a Saturday schedule now. It could be 12, it could be 1, it could be 3, it could be 12:30. But we're live. You called. I'm happy. But I need to ask you. A question.
Yeah.
How many hits has your YouTube site had?
Oh, I've got to be up. I don't know. 5.5 million last time I looked.
A million?
5.5 million.
Five
I
and-
said.
5.5 million?
Million.
Does
Yeah.
does YouTube pay you per hit?
I just started getting paid, and it's no one's business. But
No. I understand.
I did very well last month.
God bless you. God bless you. Because now you can afford to buy a ticket to go to California.
Yep, it finances
Actually,
the venture.
I'm buying a car to go to California. I've been flying all over this damn place 3 different times across this fucking country since the last time I talked to y'all. I've been everywhere since I last spoke to y'all.
Joe?
Last I talked to y'all, I had 6,000 subs. I think I got 30 something now.
That's right.
Joe, can I say
Yeah.
thank you to YouTube viewers?
Thank you to the YouTube viewers. Can I say thank you to you as Rach? I always tell a story that damn near everyone I meet, I would not be caught watching had you, JC, and Rach told me stop erasing your bid. And I put one on I put one on YouTube, and suddenly, it blew up. And so there's no Joe Cool without you guys, man.
Well,
I
just
use you guys as an example all the time, all that divisive Democrat versus Republican garbage. I'm like, listen, 2 of the people that got me started are hardcore Republicans. We've never passed a foul word between each other.
No.
Any of that.
no.
We're going to put his website up right now. Go ahead, Joe.
Well, right on. No, that was it. I just want
No.
to say thank you, man. Without you
She
guys,
can't
I
do it.
literally don't
Okay.
think I'd be doing this. You
It's
and
okay.
JC,
There,
I
don't
remember
try.
the day.
Joe,
I remember the day that you guys, that I wanted to erase a bid, and all I could hear was your 3 fucking, I'm sorry, your 3 voices in my head.
okay, listen.
Well, that makes me
listen-
happy.
Listen to what I'm going to say to you.
Okay.
Rachel and I are Republicans. We supported our president,
We did.
okay?
Yeah.
And there's a certain degree that I still support our president because he changed the game. He made politics, he took politics out of the closet and put it out for everybody to see their dirty laundry.
I'd agree with that.
Now, I have some topics, and I'm only going to read the topics. And I talked about
Okay.
these topics long before today, okay?
Okay. Yeah.
Representative Ilhan Omar, I don't know how to say it, Omar, calls on Biden to back reoccurring cash payments until the economy recovers. She wants the government to issue checks to its citizens every month until the economy recovers.
Yeah.
Joe,
My,
it's going to
my
be
opinion-
50 years before the economy recovers.
I absolutely agree. My opinion, if you're, the Constitution says you're not allowed to infringe on my ability to make a living. If you're telling me I
Well-
cannot make a freaking living, then yeah, and I'm going to need more than 1,400. I don't know.
They're going to try and take
But whatever it is, it ain't enough.
They're going to try and take your YouTube money to prevent you from flying around. Okay, now
Give it away, 'cause
I'm
interested.
going to go through these real quick because Rachel has some things that she
Go ahead,
needs
go
to say.
for that.
Ready?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Biden's pledge to suspend deportations may be behind the current migrant caravan. What are they going to do at the southern border, whether it's Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, or California, when these people show up at that little gate that you got to walk through? They're not going to fit.
Yeah, I would agree. However, I feel differently. it's fine. It needs to come out of Trump's mouth. When they were like, let's bring more people in from Africa and Mexico, and I don't want to bring anyone from that S-hole country. Why can't we bring some good people like from Sweden and so and so? It's okay if white folks come here in droves. So hell, let them in. I could care less, and don't kick nobody out.
Joe?
Until it's equal for all.
I agree.
When it's equal enough, let me finish. When it's equal enough for the same way Ivana comes in here and it's easy for her, when it's done like that for the dirtiest Hispanic that live in a desert somewhere, then I'll be talking about let's put up a wall and secure our borders. Until it's equal for all and unjust law is no law at all.
I agree. My issue is not race, creed, color, or national origin. My issue is you are bringing them. When they say that Trump encouraged the attack on the Capitol?
He did.
These politicians are encouraging these people to flood across our borders.
Well,
I would agree, and I'm totally okay with that. Even
I'm
if
okay
that's
with it too.
Assessment, I'm fine with that.
I'm okay with it too.
Until y'all fix the system, kick it down, break the wall, do what you got to do, because otherwise these comfortable people will not. Can I curse on here? It's really
You certainly can.
All right, these comfortable fucks will not move until something moves them.
Correct.
So, I'm sorry about if the form is ugly or it doesn't look right, or even if it's screwed up. I don't want a bunch of folks coming in here that ain't been checked and all of that stuff. But since you guys will not change the system because it works for you cats and not for everyone else, nah, fuck it. Come on in, all you cats. Bring your family, the dog, and the osprey, your pet fucking chicken, and ostrich. I'm down with that.
Listen, I agree. Open the fucking borders. But you gotta open all the borders.
I agree.
Not just the ones closest to Sweden and Norway.
Agreed.
All of the borders.
And I would want these people checked out and all of that stuff. I want that. But right now it's unjust. I'm not even interested in the way it is right now.
Well, checked out for what, Joe? What would you think they should be checked out for?
I don't know. I've never even had that conversation. But
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to test a person, check their background, see what they have, and I don't think a felon should just not be allowed in. See what the crime was. Make sure these cats ain't carrying some deadly virus. If they are, you treat them. Whatever it is, whatever we deem necessary. There's natural intrusive or whatever. Yeah, that's okay.
Joe, do you remember when Fidel Castro emptied his prisons and his mental institutions in the Mariel boat lift?
Yeah, I do.
He said, yeah, you want to go to the United States? Go. Here's the boats, go. And when they reached our shore, because we were complaining about how Castro treated these people, so he said, well, fine, you take care of them. So he sent people to the United States, and we started running background checks. We started to have to hold people in federal penitentiaries and detention centers because of the crimes they committed in Cuba. But you're right.
I remember that, right?
Mariel boat lift. Okay, now.
I mean, I think the people that are coming over the border, it would, not to prevent them from coming over the border. And I think if we're going to allow open borders, I don't think we should check people out because that's very judgmental. If somebody, for instance, has a record or something, we don't know if they got justice. We don't know what background they came from that might have forced them.
And if the charge itself should not preclude them.
Right. And if they're sick, that's even worse to prevent somebody who's sick from coming in. We should definitely accept them.
You find out and you take care of them before they get 87 people in line fucking for hepatitis.
Right.
I had a
Right. And they should tell us ahead of time that they're coming, because that way we can set up places for them to live. We can get jobs for them. We can get food.
Good girl.
And if there's not enough places for them to live, then the government should say people need to open their homes to these people and allow them to, because we're not going to be able to build houses fast enough for all
So
these.
the government's going to put somebody in my spare bedroom?
Yeah,
Oh, fuck you.
I mean, these
No.
these people that have really big houses, like down in Greenwich, Connecticut, they have huge mansions. You could fit probably 10 families of immigrants in those houses that don't have houses where they come. And so I truly think everybody in the United States, when people come over on the open borders, we all need to open our homes. I mean, these congressmen have huge homes. Richard Blumenthal has a big home. I bet he could take in a lot of people.
Don't make me do a thing. If it's by choice, I would do that on my own accord.
Right.
If you tell me I must do it, no freaking way.
I know, but I don't think enough people are going to do it on their own.
We fought a revolution because the British were building their troops in our homes. We fought a revolution.
he's
Go ahead, Joe.
We got a billion freaking abandoned buildings every freaking
Good
day.
idea.
We got enough money that may give them jobs, rehousing them. There's enough existing houses
Yep.
that people aren't living in my opinion.
Yep.
Military bases have closed, and the barracks that house the military are empty.
Yep. Detroit
Yeah.
has a lot of abandoned buildings.
All right, look, I'm sorry, I had to cut this short. I just got the call. I got to ride out and meet the guys.
This was great, Joe.
Please call us on a regular basis.
Thank you. Have a good day.
I tried. I missed your guys. I don't know, like the last 3 weeks in a row. Ed, I probably got 3 new phones since we last talked. You still have my number. If you and Rach text me so I can make sure I got your phone number.
Well, I switched phones and had a lot of problems, so text it to me again or
Me
email it.
too. Me too.
Joe, just listen to what I'm going to say to you before you go. I want you to think about Washington, D.C. and Baghdad, Iraq. In Baghdad, we established an area called the Green Zone. We put a wall around 3.9 square miles, and the Iraqi people were not able to come in. That's where the government operated. When I see fencing and National Guard troops in Washington, D.C., blocking off the White House and blocking off the Capitol, I call it our Green Zone.
I wish you could see me smiling, Ed. We are on the same accord. I wish you could see the big ass.
Not exactly, but a lot in common. Have a good
Call back.
Have a good trip, Joe. Bye.
Talk to you. Bye.
Love you guys. Thank you guys.
Bye.
Write that number down right there.
Oh, well, it'll keep track of it. Yeah, on caller ID.
Okay. Now,
I mean, if you think about it, some people live in apartments or houses that are 1,000 square feet or less. But let's just do 1,000 because that's easy.
yeah,
We have houses in Greenwich, Connecticut. I guarantee
10,000 square feet.
10,000 square feet.
20,000 square feet.
So you could fit, let's assume there's already one family living there, you could fit 19 more families in those huge houses that
You
these
could fit
people live
19
in.
families in their guest house.
We could have a rule that if you have a house that's larger than a certain square footage, then you're going to give homes, and I think if it's going to be like a foreign exchange student, you're not only going to give them homes, but you're going to be responsible for them too, because they're not going to have a car. How are they going to get around?
You got to drive them.
They're not going to know where stores are. How are they going to get food? You know, and of course the government will give us money
You're
to do
going to
this.
give them money for Uber.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
now, the National Guard is, and I said this, when the troops were going into Washington, I said, they ain't going to leave. Because I have been to Cairo, Egypt. I have been to Athens, Greece. And you have to walk down the street and see a soldier standing in front of a lot based on how much you made and how much you may have put in.
Right.
He's going to say, oh, those people that get money up here, because we're going to knock them down here so we can take that money and spread it out for the people that don't have. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I didn't read that part of this.
But we're going to have to make sure, Ed, that we have money for what we were talking about before, because a lot of the people that are going to be coming in as new citizens from other countries aren't going to have jobs either. So I think it's unfair to expect people to contribute to unemployment in order to get it. People should just get unemployment whether they contributed or not. Just hand
I
out
know-
the money.
I know that you have been very eloquent in expressing your feelings about what's going on. But I got to tell you something. You walk across the border, I have no problem with you coming in. You get no government aid for 2 years.
Oh,
How?
outrageous.
Oh, outrageous.
Outrageous.
Where are
You
these?
get,
Okay.
you know what? You get a voucher with an address on it that you immediately report to as your home. That's what you get. And you get vouchers to go out and get food. Your medical plan is in place.
Let me just
How
see.
heartless
let
are
me
you?
just see. Heartless. Heartless.
Heartless.
Let me. No, I got a new heart. The other, I was heartless. I was heartless before, and then they gave me a new one, and the new one I think is more conservative than the old one. No, listen, seriously, okay? When these people come into the United States from Central America,
Hey, and let's stop referring to them as these people.
Okay.
It's offensive. Why don't we
the human
say?
beings that are walking north towards the United States from Central American
Why don't
countries.
we just say our new citizens?
Because I don't consider them citizens.
As soon
There's a way to
as
become a
soon as the
citizen.
toe goes over the line,
Okay, got
they're
it.
citizens.
Okay, they're citizens.
Okay.
Now, what if I had a group of people standing at the border saying, New York has the best benefits, go there. San Francisco has the best benefits, go there.
Well, it's true.
This has
These are
Greenwich,
great places
Connecticut
to
has
live.
the greatest welfare program in the go there. Beverly Hills,
Absolutely.
go there. Now, the political balance is in play here.
We're going to have to issue masks
The
too.
future political balance of this country is now in play because these people coming in are going to have their hand out.
The new citizens
The
coming
new
in.
citizens coming in are going to put out their hand and they're going to say, I need medical, I need income, I need transportation, I need housing.
And you know
and
what?
and we're going to give it to them.
They are going to need jobs, Ed.
They are.
So there are people in the United States that are currently unemployed. You know what? They had their chance to get a job and they blew it. So when the new people come in, all you people that are unemployed, for whatever reason, you can't get a job and you're not allowed to compete
And-
with jobs.
They have to be paid $15 an hour.
Yep.
So you count all of the heads in that picture, adult heads, and everybody gets a job, and you divide, there's 2,000 working hours. Is there 2,000? I think it's 2,000 working hours
Mm-hmm.
in a year.
Right.
Okay? So multiply 2,000 times 15, 20,
I'm going to bring my calculator next
$30,000.
time. Okay.
$30,000 a year. So every person that's coming into this country is going to be entitled to a job and is going to
Of
be
course.
paid $30,000 a year.
Right.
Okay? And I got to tell you, I know people who have struggled for years and finally hit the quote-unquote jackpot of finding a self-employed job, earning an income, okay?
Yeah.
And surviving, and now somebody else can come in and cut him in half and take his business away from him.
It's the right thing to do,
It's
though.
the right thing to do.
It
but
is.
I have no problem paying $25 for a hamburger at McDonald's.
Well, I mean, that's another thing. Why is it that people of different means, like some people make more money than others, why do they all pay the same thing when they go to a restaurant or go to a store? For example, if I go to a store and buy a loaf of bread and somebody that lives in Greenwich, like, I can't even think of a name, but somebody very wealthy goes to the store and buys bread, why should I have to pay the same as them? Shouldn't food and other necessities of life be on a sliding scale so that the less money you have, the less money you have to... It's sort of like Listen, it's like Joe Biden's unemployment thing. So based on the money you have, that's the amount you pay at a restaurant or you pay at a store. We're all going to be classified into these different groups, and that way, that levels the playing field too, don't you think? I mean, don't you think?
Why can't anybody practice the law?
It's unfair that people who have more money pay the same thing at restaurants.
Look at the prices of gas.
Uh-huh.
In the state of Connecticut, there can be, from one area of Connecticut to another area, a 20 cents a gallon difference. Litchfield Hills, 20 cents a gallon more. Down by the Connecticut River, 20 cents left per gallon. Okay? But what I think that I'm trying to say is this. I love inflation. Print more money. Because that's going to mean that the houses we have are going to go up in value. That's how a $29,000 house in 1975 or 6 can turn into $1.1 million house in 2021.
But again, there's going to be a sliding scale for buying property. The poorer you are, the less it costs, and the richer you are, the more it costs.
So if I own a house that's worth $1 million and somebody comes up to me that's on unemployment, I got to sell it to them for 25?
Absolutely.
Ho-ho! Where did you come from?
It's only fair.
It's only fair.
Because otherwise you're denying poor people the same thing that rich people have, Ed. Poor people are entitled to live exactly like people who have money. Why not? They're people too.
How did you get to where you are?
They're people too.
How did you get to where
Why
you are?
should some people live differently than other people just because they don't have money?
If you had not gone in the Air Force, would you have gone to college?
Eventually.
But the government should have given you that college for free, regardless of whether you served in the Air Force or not. Would you be an attorney? Would you be an attorney today if the government, by your service, your low-paying job in the military, didn't have a college education fund for veterans? Would you be an attorney today?
You know, it's hard to know, Ed. It's hard to know.
Because you've got the drive.
But you're
to
right.
accomplish things.
You're right. We were so backwards in the 20th century. When people graduate from high school, the government should pay for their college as far as they want to go, because people need to develop themselves to their full potential, and it's up to the government to pay for that.
In order for people, in order to transport to fly a helicopter across the Atlantic Ocean, say it's starting in Fort Benning, Georgia, at a military facility. It flies up the East Coast, up to Maine, across to Newfoundland, okay? Then it goes to Iceland, and then it goes to Scotland or England.
Viking country, yeah.
Viking country. But that's how a helicopter, a two-bladed helicopter, can fly across the Atlantic. It has to go up, and it has to land, and eventually get... And then if it wants to go to South Africa, it has to start going down into Africa to South Africa. I was in the Marine Corps Air Reserve at South Weymouth Naval Air Station. We were in the barracks, and helicopters came in that night, unmarked. No markings on the helicopters. Didn't have an American flag, didn't have shit on it. And the guys that came in were from South Africa. And they were taking these helicopters up the coast, across the North Atlantic, down through Spain, Europe, Spain, Africa, down the coast to South Africa. What were they doing in the United States?
I don't know.
Months after the incident at South Weymouth, there was a large visual explosion in the atmosphere off the coast of South Africa. South Africa had been given nuclear weapons. Okay?
Okay.
Now, we were talking to these guys. You know, you talk to guys in the barracks. Hey, you're from France, you're from England, you're from South Africa. You get to meet a lot of people from a lot of countries. And I asked them, did you know that Rhodesia and South Africa were paying returning Vietnam veterans $10,000 a month in gold Cougarans to serve in the Rhodesian army? $10,000 a month. That's $120,000 a year in gold. I don't need your fucking veterans benefits. I don't need your dental. I don't need a new heart from you, because I would have stayed in combat. Every month I'm in combat, I'm getting $10,000 in gold Cougarans. I'm sticking around.
But you didn't.
This country.
But you didn't.
No, I didn't.
It's confusing.
No, I didn't.
Did something stop you? I mean, you said I would have.
I didn't want to be in combat again.
Okay. Yeah, well, that makes sense.
I didn't want to be in combat again. I was done with it. Now, in boot camp, they give you a class on benefits. I remember like it was yesterday. And they're explaining VA benefits. At the same time, I'm getting $64 a month, $32 in cash every 2 weeks. The paymaster has a little table and he pays you your money. And I raised my hand when they're talking about benefits. I said, excuse me, can we forego all of that VA stuff? Can you just make my paychecks bigger? I need more money now. No. Well, guess what? I'm glad I didn't do it.
Why?
The VA paid for my heart. The VA paid to get me through some very rough times.
Right.
In the 70s
and well, it's
and
a
80s.
gamble. It's always a gamble to
You know,
take the money.
but I mean, I remember
benefits,
asking,
the payout.
but I wouldn't have needed to have a VA loan to buy a house if I had 120,000. If in 1969 I came home with $120,000 in gold Cougarans, I could go out and buy my $29,000 house cash. I don't need a VA loan.
Right.
I could pay the premiums on a health insurance policy.
You got anything else over there?
No.
I was looking a little into the
4 topics you came to the table.
No.
We have time. How much time do we have?
15 minutes.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter, you know, that we go over all 4.
No. But when we run the phone,
And I obviously
I am really impressed.
I don't
with
really have them anymore. I
mean-
don't know what happened to them, so I thought I
Oh.
brought them down. I know. I thought I brought them down.
I was rather impressed.
So let me bring them up on here then.
I was rather impressed.
I really want to follow President Biden
I do too.
and see how he does what he says he's going to do.
Right?
Because it'll be a good lesson for us all in balancing the needs of the people with the resources of the country. But he's been in politics a long time. If anybody knows his way around,
He's got the trifecta.
it's
He
Joe
can
Biden.
do anything he wants. He's
Absolutely.
got the House, the Senate, and the executive branch. The only thing that can prevent him from doing what he wants is the Supreme Court. That's the only place. Okay? It's the only place.
So it appears he already has his cabinet picked.
Yes.
Vice President Kamala Harris obviously is in the cabinet.
Yeah.
And then there's 15 secretaries. There's the White House Chief of Staff, the U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations, Director of National Intelligence, U.S. Trade Representatives, and then you got the heads of these other agencies like the EPA, OMB, Economic Advisors, Science and Technology, and SBA.
This is a verbal ringtone.
I was interested, first of all, we discussed this. The Attorney General is Merrick Garland.
Oh, yeah, Merrick Garland.
Many
Correct.
of you will remember Judge Garland from his failed attempt to become a Supreme Court justice. And I can't remember exactly what transpired to prevent him. It was definitely political, right?
They held up his nomination, his
Right.
hearings.
Yeah. So he never, yeah. So, but now he's the AG. And
Good.
we were talking about if, much like Joe Biden has run twice before for president, and the third time was a charm, maybe Merrick Garland is not out of the game for the Supreme Court.
He's out of the game.
If there becomes an opening on the Supreme
He's
Court,
out of the game.
Right.
He's not a female, and he's not a person of color.
Right, and Joe Biden has said that he.
I'm sorry. He's not a female, a transsexual, or a person of color.
And Joe Biden has been pretty upfront about that. He
Yep.
wants the people he appoints to reflect the populace. So I agree. I don't think Merrick Garland is going to be in the running for the Supreme Court.
No.
I was looking at the new Secretary of Defense, who is a general, retired, after 41 years, 1975 graduate of West Point, I believe was the first black general. He's definitely the first black Secretary of Defense.
I don't think he's the first
No,
black general.
no,
Omar
Colin-
Bradley.
And Colin Powell, huh?
Colin Powell, black.
Yeah.
Omar Bradley, I believe, may have been the first black general.
So the first Secretary of Defense.
Secretary, it's good.
And his name is Lloyd Austin. And I wanted to learn a little bit more about General Austin. And I said to myself, I don't want to go to news organizations that people see as biased, no matter which side you're on. So I did some Google research, and there's a consensus out there that there are some news organizations that have less bias than others. Let's
They don't
put it
have
that
a
way.
dog in the fight.
Associated Press, Wall
Yep.
Street Journal,
Yep.
Reuters, and the BBC. So I went to these four organizations to see what they were saying about the general. Now, I did go to how do you say it, Ed? Al Jazeera?
Al Jazeera.
Al Jazeera. And I learned there that the general had served on the board of directors of defense contractors, Raytheon, steelmaker Nucor, which is a supplier to two major Pentagon contractors,
Yeah.
and Oshkosh Defense and Huntington Ingalls. So he definitely is carrying on the tradition of what's called the revolving door.
The defense group.
Right. So the Secretary of Defense has ties to civilian companies that make their money off the Defense Department. There's absolutely nothing new there.
In other words, if I own Raytheon, I can pick up the phone and get the Secretary of Defense on the line.
Exactly. The Associated Press, and I took the most recent articles talking about General Austin, they said over the past year, the Pentagon has struggled while Donald Trump has been president because of his opposition to convince the Department of Defense to ban the Confederate flag. The Pentagon also wanted Congress to rename military bases that honor Confederate leaders, and Trump rejected all this. So Trump was not cooperative for the past 4 years in removing the the Confederate flags and allowing certain bases to be renamed. And it's because of Trump that none of this was done, Ed. Now, who was the president before Donald Trump? Do you remember?
I do.
Who was it?
Obama.
And how long was he there?
8 years.
And during that 8 years, do you think President Obama had the opportunity to discuss or talk about or encourage the Defense Department to put in a new policy where you can't have Confederate flags on military bases?
I know.
And do you think during that 8 years, President Obama had the opportunity to say, listen, we need to take statues down, we need to rename bases, we need to do all this? Do you remember President Obama talking about that? I don't remember anybody saying anything about that. Do you remember President Clinton saying anything about that?
No.
Do you remember any of the Bushes saying anything about
No.
that? But it's all...
But wait, whoa. This rises up from the political, from the people.
Right.
Okay? When all of the people get together, because I'll just give you an example. I saw, and I read it in bold print. I'll read the article if the bold print intrigues me and lures me in, okay? Somebody did an article about the 15 promises that Trump made when he got elected and never did. They named 15 things that he promised to do and didn't do it, okay?
And it's not like General Austin doesn't know Joe Biden personally. I guess Joe Biden's son, the son who passed away from brain cancer, was actually some kind of aide or friend or whatever to General Austin. So why didn't General Austin say, Joe, you're the vice president. Can you talk to President Obama, or can I talk to President Obama about getting these offensive Confederate flags out of the military? No, no.
I'm going to tell you something.
So how is it Trump's fault for the past 4 years the Confederate flags were still there when they were there long before Trump ever got in? I don't get it.
If I was a family in a southern state
Well,
that had relatives who fought bravely for their country, their state,
it wasn't their country.
Not everybody was a fucking slave owner.
But it wasn't their country.
But
They were looking to secede.
secede. They were
Secede.
looking to secede from the Union.
Right.
Now, the Union, the North, had gone down and said, we're going to take away all of your horses, all of your mules, and all of your slaves. Plow the field yourself. You don't have a tractor. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, the economy in the South, which helped build the United States, was built on the back of slaves. Was built on the back of slaves. State rights. Now, I am extremely sympathetic to anybody that was a slave. There's a movie, a series out now, it's called Turn. It's about Washington and his spy network. And it has minority blacks and it has whites, and it shows them hugging and talking and working with you. And I leaned to my wife and I said, now this is what's wrong. Somebody wrote a script and they wrote in these lily white men who are very nice to their slaves and who have them in the house and do whatever, okay? And I said, that's revisionist history. 100 years from now, somebody's going to look back at that movie and think that it's real. It's not. That's not what happened. People were brutalized, murdered, hung. It wasn't right. It wasn't right from the first day somebody got off the ship and had to pick cotton, pick tobacco, or whipped on and put up on a block and sold. Families divided.
Well,
it was outrageous.
And I could see where somebody could argue on that day when the first slave came to the United States, our destiny was written.
Yes, our acceptance of slavery and the destiny of our country was written.
Yes.
But I got to tell you,
The beginning of our country foretold
if we lost
its
World War
downfall.
II, if we lost World War II, I would still be praising George Patton and Dwight D. Eisenhower. I would still be praising them.
That's different.
When you take down a statue to somebody.
How about if it came out that
Is there a phone call?
It's Eric, if you have time.
Oh. Eric.
I gotta go
Eric?
in 4 minutes.
Hey,
She's got to take her dogs to the vet, so make it fast.
Now go ahead, Eric. I can be a little late.
so first of all, just real quick, they stole the election. I just want to note that. Everybody knows that they're polling that the election was stolen. Second of all, this whole thing is the Great Reset. You have Janet Yellen, former Federal Reserve chairwoman, now the head of the Treasury.
Yes, you
For
do.
the first time in U.S. history, you've had a Federal Reserve person in charge of the Treasury. The Federal Reserve is not federal, and they have no reserves. All right? It's a fictitious bullshit system that's collapsing right now. Whoever took the helm would have been dealing with the collapsed system. They're printing $5 trillion this year. That's a quarter of the U.S. GDP. Dollars are going to go down like 12% a year, then 15% a year. So get your money into anything real, even if it's a coin or a painting or a collectible, anything.
I got you.
They are going to hyperinflate the dollar right now. It's so obvious.
They have no
Not
choice.
because- But you said before, well, you know, the house. So your 1.1 million you're going to get for that house is going to buy $600,000 worth of stuff, and then less and less and less. That's what's happening right now.
No. It happened after World War I in Germany when it took a wheelbarrow full of marks to buy a loaf of bread.
Weimar, Germany.
Huh?
Weimar, Germany.
Weimar.
Yeah.
Oh.
Weimar, Germany. That's when it happened. Well, now it would be even worse because the United States dollar is the world's reserve currency.
I don't think for long.
What?
I don't think for long.
But this is the Great Reset that they speak of.
You have Lagarde, the head of the World Bank, and the European central banks. This is no one's even talking about this. It has nothing to do with Trump or Biden or whoever or Bernie Sanders.
You're correct.
Mittens.
That's the truth.
Yeah, that
This has nothing to do with Bernie Sanders' stupid mittens. This has to do with your dollar. This is how they're going to tax the poor people. See, the Democrats are saying we're only going to tax the rich, we're going to increase the tax on the rich. They're killing the dollar. The dollar is dead. You're all going to suffer. All these people who are on pensions, who get the cost of living, the COLA increases at like 1%. Inflation is between 11 and 15% right now, and that's documented on shadow stats. That's the only way you can really get true inflation. It's about 11, and you can pick your own basket of things that you buy in Connecticut, and make a list, write it down, and in a year from now, check it. It's going to be like 11 to 15% higher.
You're absolutely
We're
correct.
in for the biggest crisis coming ever. Actually, I'm kind of glad it's going to be Biden, so they can blame him. And then maybe Trump's new party that he's starting will come and pick up the pieces of this disaster.
Do you agree that he's going to start his own party?
Yes,
I agree.
he is.
But-
Patriot Party.
But Eric, there must be another source of funding, because the plan is to bring in thousands and thousands of new citizens who are going to need our help. So
Tens and hundreds of thousands.
right.
Where
So
are you getting that money from?
where?
Where are you getting the money from? We're on a fiat system.
Where?
Yeah, listen, we're not backed on anything. Once the faith that you think it can buy you something is gone, the faith of that dollar is gone, it's going to plummet even more.
Right. Listen,
We are
Eric.
serious. We are in a mess of trouble. Soon, it's coming soon. If you want to do something really smart for yourself, put your money in like gold mining stocks, anything gold mining. Pick a good one. I mean, that's what Warren Buffett just did. He sold the airlines. He sold all his shares in the airlines. And what did Warren Buffett buy? He bought Barrick's gold. He bashed gold for all the years. All 30 years he's been bashing gold. He called it a pet rock. Right? And now he sold his airlines and he bought Barrick gold. Public information.
Yeah.
Warren Buffett bought $500 million in gold stocks.
Eric,
'Cause
call
everybody
earlier
knows
next
where
week.
it's going.
Call earlier next week. I'm getting this from Master Control. Wind it up.
Eric,
Buy some gold stocks. Buy anything real. Get out of dollars. Goodbye.
bye. No, I love hearing from him because he brings things down to the main point. And I
Exactly.
gotta tell you, sometimes I think Biden and Trump and Clinton and Bush, they're all the same thing.
Pimps and whores.
They are the rich, and they want us at the bottom to keep arguing about bullshit while they keep getting richer.
You're right. Can we wrap up? Everybody, we're going to be back next week. We don't know exactly what time we come on, but it's usually on a Saturday afternoon and before 3 o'clock.
Have a good week.